Good evening. Welcome. This is Off the Cuff here on MX24. Coming on the heels of a statement by the President addressing the nation on COVID-19. And the last words he said were that these deaths and these issues we have had with COVID shall also pass. But I'm reminding you that before it passes, make sure you are not a victim. And so heed to everything that the President has said in relation to taking the necessary precautionary measures to ensure that you are not a victim and that you don't expose your family, your friends, and loved ones to the danger that comes with this disease that is very real and that is afflicting a lot of people in this country. On that note, I welcome you to the show you have been waiting for all week. This is Off the Cuff. We have the latest from the world of sports and the best analysis on all the biggest stories from the world of sports. So coming up in this edition of the show, here in Ghana, Accra Great Olympic supporters all over the world are jubilating after they got one over Accra Hearts of Oak for the first time in close to 2 decades. We'll touch on that and all the big stories across, including the conduct of fans at the Accra Sports Stadium and the aftermath of that. And then we'll jet off to the rest of the world. We will go to the English Premiership, where Liverpool fans believe that their team is back after a back-to-back 3-1 victories, including one over West Ham tonight. We'll go to the Bundesliga, where Bayern Munich are very much in charge. Italy, where the race is still poised, potentially for somebody else to win the league title for the first time in 9 years. We'll go to Spain, where Real Madrid took a tumble, and in France, where there was a shock result. So there's a lot to talk about in this edition of the show. Stay with us. We'll go for our first break. Welcome back. This is Off the Coffee on MX24, wherever you're joining us from. We are streaming, we are on social media. You're also watching us on our various digital platforms. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. Let me introduce my guest to you. You know Yao Bain, who joins us every evening. Yao, it's good to have you here again. Hope you had a brilliant week.
Yes.
You had a good week.
It was a good week.
Okay. Joining us for the very first time, Mr. Eddie Akins. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Sammy.
Thank you very much for joining us. We are going to start with the local league, and then we'll go international. This has been one of the most action-packed weekends in the Ghana Premier League since the league commenced, because there's a lot to talk about. I don't know, where do we start from? I guess the logical place to start from will be Hearts of Oak and Accra Great Olympics. But I want to start from the Bechem versus 11 Wonders game for the drama that came afterwards. Bechem United beat 11 Wonders by 3-1. Now, we know that 11 Wonders were not happy with some of the refereeing decisions. They took offense at some of the decisions in the conduct of the match officials. But I have also heard Bechem United say that if they were to play on emotions, then they should rather have attacked the referee. You can't justify any of those, and under no circumstances should match officials be threatened or attacked in any way. But that's exactly what happened with Coach Ignatius.
Yeah, I think when I saw the scenes, I didn't watch the game, but I just watched the highlights and I saw. And you know, Coach Ignatius is usually a calm guy, and for him to, I just thought maybe it was just a moment of madness, because no matter what, you cannot.
He had to be restrained, huh?
Yeah, he was. I mean, I thought he was going to auction to be in the WWF or something, because the way he was moving towards the assistant referees, it was nothing to behold. And I think that his actions have to be condemned in no uncertain manner, and I'm sure the disciplinary committee of the FA will come in hard on him. Even though it's his first offence, we cannot allow these things to happen in our football.
Did you watch the game?
No, I didn't, but I had reports of it. I think one of the qualities that a lot of people tout about football is discipline. And I think it should come from the high-ups, i.e. the coaches, and then descend to the players. So if you have a coach put himself about that way, that really it's very difficult to understand.
So here are scenes from the match. Bechem United, 11 Wonders went ahead, and Bechem United came from a goal down to win that game by 3-1.
Yeah, so no matter how provoked you are or urged you are, you need to be in control of your emotions, especially as a coach, because what are you then going to be telling your lads if they put out the same behavior? That really is not the best way to act, and I'm quite disappointed in the coach.
This was a regional derby, and these matches already don't need much to get them inflamed and to get passions running wild. And if he took offense at the referees, shouldn't there be a better way of
Yeah, I
addressing
mean,
this
these
issue?
days the FA even has
Match review.
match review. There's a report that the coaches and administrators can file on the conduct of referees. You cannot do this. And you see, what people realize, as Eddie was saying, that your actions could even lead. Imagine if the fans of 11 Wonders decided to follow their coach and misbehave. Then we would have had a riot there. So, I mean, when you are in a certain position, you have to be more responsible. And, I mean, I can forgive Coach Ignatius for it because he's a young coach, somebody we've talked about, tactical acumen, all good things. This season, he's really come to the fore. And for him to do this, I mean, just a moment of madness.
We'll be seeing scenes of exactly how he conducted himself and hopefully speak to him to get some responses from him and some explanation as to why he behaved the way he did. But it's not the first time we are seeing this with coaches in the Ghana Premier League.
Yeah, but we need to come heavy on them.
People do get away with these things.
Yeah, but I think that the bigger question should be trust in the channels, or trust or confidence in the committee set up to deal with these things. Do the managers or the coaches trust that they're going to get a fair hearing, they're going to get justice, or they think that
those are images. So that's Coach Ignatius being restrained by 4 members of the Ghana Police Service.
Interesting.
To prevent him from getting at the match officials, especially.
Interesting.
That's quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So you it really brings to the fore, like I said earlier, the confidence that the coaches have in the channels for redress. Do they absolutely believe they are going to get a fair hearing? They are going to get justice for whatever they take there. I think they don't have absolute confidence in the channels, and that's why sometimes they get to these points. But we need to condemn these actions on certain terms. We talk about coaches or managers being good man managers. I think that man management must start
with themselves.
With themselves. Yes, you need to manage yourself very well to be able to manage other people. So we condemn this, but then again, it brings to the fore how reliable the channels are.
That's true.
So that's what happened in that game between Bechem United and 11 Wonders. Hopefully we'll get to speak to the coach. And we'll hear what the Ghana Football Association has to say about his conduct. The FA, though, has issued one statement already in relation to disciplinary action, and that's against Accra Hearts of Oak. Essentially, they believe that Accra Hearts of Oak violated all the protocols that the president spoke about in relation to the 25% of the people at the stadium and how they should be managed. But before we go to the off-the-field issue, let me just quickly settle on the result itself, because for the first time in 17 years, and that's the figure that's been bandied about, Accra Great Olympics beat Accra Hearts of Oak. And the man who was the architect of that victory for Accra Great Olympics is somebody who cut his teeth at Accra Hearts of Oak. I remember watching him in the very early 90s at Kotobabi Swag Park, and then subsequently he was with Accra Hearts of Oak. I remember him playing penalty kicks for Hearts of Oak against Kumasi Asante Kotoko in the FA Cup. I think it was 90, thereabouts. Subsequently played for Ghana, made a name, playing in Europe, and he's back coaching, and he coached Accra Great Olympics to beat his former club. Yao Prekon is the coach of Accra Great Olympics, and he's joined us this evening. Yao, good evening. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I hope I did justice to your career with the sort of introduction I gave you. I used to watch you at Swag Park, I was a little kid at the time.
Yeah, in the 80s, huh?
Yeah, late 80s, 89.
Late 80s, yes.
You and Awi and the rest.
89-90 season.
Yeah.
I joined House of Oak 89-90 season.
Yes, that was the season.
That was the only season I played for House of Oak before I left the country.
Great. So, yeah, congratulations. So just give us a breakdown of how you beat Accra Hearts of Oak. Because I noticed that you started with a lot of intensity. Essentially, you blitzed Accra Hearts of Oak within the first 20 minutes and won the match.
Yeah, the whole idea was to hit them on the break, unsettle them the first 15 minutes, make sure that we are in control of the game. We don't let them take control of the game because they have so many so much quality. And if you don't take care and you let them start controlling the pace of the game, then we will struggle. So we decided to harass them and take control of the game and get early goal. Unfortunately for us, it happened. And the second goal also came.
But on the first goal, Gladson, did you see this coming? Is this something he puts away on a regular basis?
He's been working on it at training with Atram. You know, Atram is also a free kick expert. So they work almost 2-3 times in a week. So so many angles where we know he can hit the target from. They've worked so much and there's so many free kicks. So I wasn't surprised when the ball went in because he has what it takes to score from that angle.
So please walk us through the second goal from one Abbey to the other. It was a mistake by Hearts of Oak, and your players picked their pockets and went down the right.
We went in to win every duel in the first half. That was our aim. You know, we have to make sure we don't let them breathe, especially when his back is facing our goal, and he's facing his goal. We have to make sure that we force him to play the ball back, and exactly what our attackers did. They forced him to cause an error, and then we took the ball from there, and a good pull out from Ashi, and what a beautiful goal from Maxwell.
And then in the second half, has upped the game. You were a bit under the cosh. How did you manage to get the team to avoid conceding?
You know, if you can't score, don't let them score. Because I told them, look, if you are going to the game, each club is coming with a point, and there's 2 points available. So if you can't get the 2 points, keep your 1 point and go home with it. So if halftime you holding the 3 points, protect it. How do you protect it? 100% concentration and work for each other. Block, listen to the technical thing, and you'll be fine. That's exactly what happened.
So this was quite unexpected. I remember telling you earlier that Oli has been such Laimomo for Accra Hearts of Oak that they were quite sure that they will get 3 points from you. What does this do for the rest of the season for Accra Great Olympics?
Beating Accra Hearts of Oak is a hurdle. You know, it's a marathon, and the first beating Accra Hearts of Oak for us. It's so many matches to play, and it's a game we wanted to get hold of it, and then manage to get what we could get out of it, and then move on. Unfortunately, we were able to get the whole 3 points, so it's gone. We have a very important match against King Faisal. It's going to be very difficult because they are a very good side, even though they are not winning. We know playing against a club like Hearts of Oak, the match itself motivates you. You don't need anybody to motivate you, but playing against the likes of King Faisal and the smaller clubs, it's a difficult match for you to concentrate. So we have to go back to the drawing board tomorrow, and where we fall short, we correct it, and then we go to King Faisal match, and then we take that match as well.
Personally, for you, Yao, what does this victory mean to you and your coaching career? You've had a stint with the national teams, the junior teams. You've been in Nigeria where you managed to accomplish something. You're back here. Do you think this victory will make people take you more serious as a coach?
I'm not doing it for people to think. I know what I'm capable of. I know my capabilities. I'm not in a hurry. I'm not too ambitious to be recognized now. I'm taking it step by step, and I know definitely I'll get there. So these are one of the steps that I'm taking, and I know by His grace at the right time, those the doubters will chew their own words.
Finally, the president spoke a few minutes ago. Well, the good news is that football is not going to stop, and he says that they are going to maintain the 25%. But we saw from the aftermath of that victory over Hearts, you made the supporters very happy. And in the aftermath, you know, they broke all the rules. We saw people hugging each other and very close. And that has led to issues for Accra Hearts of Oak. I'm giving you the opportunity. What would you say to the fans in view of potentially what this means for the continuation of fans being able to attend matches at the stadium if they continue to do these things?
We have to we have to respect all protocols. It took a while before the president gave us that permission for even 25% to come to the game. So we shouldn't abuse it. We should observe all protocols and make sure that it's not by force for you to be sitting next to somebody when you want to come and enjoy the game. We should come in there and then sit at where we're supposed to be, and then at the end of the day, you go home safe because the virus is still in the system. We have to be very, very, very careful because we are enjoying the fans. We are really enjoying the fans. Yesterday they were there, even though they broke the rules and regulations. But we have to make sure that it doesn't happen next time, and so that when they come to the stadium, they can come back again and enjoy football. Because watching from afar, when you are home, you are just watching from TV. It took something out of the game for them to come back to the stadium. We have to observe all protocols and then so that the president doesn't put his eye on us.
Yeah, thank you very much, and congratulations again on your victory over Hearts.
Thank you, too.
So that's Yaw Perko, former Black Stars player, former Hearts of Oak player. He got one over his former side. Now let's unpack the issues here. Let's start briefly, though, with what happened on the field. He finished us in 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was a bliss. And
clear strategy, he says.
Yeah, it was really... I think that Hearts, because of how they've been so overpowering, they've overpowered Olympics so much that they went with a certain false sense of superiority.
Yeah.
And so they were relaxed. And it was a good strategy by Yao to blitz them in the first 20 minutes. Before they could recover or say Jack, they were 2 goals down.
Yeah.
And brilliant free kick from Blasian Wako, who has been the player of the season so far. He's been revived. And Olympics are really, they've taken Kotoko down, they've taken House of Folk down, they've taken, is it Entire Allies or... They are the landlords of Accra. Of Accra. All the teams in Accra who play, the 4 teams in Accra who play in Accra.
When you look at the mini league,
all they
top the mini league.
Yes,
of the
Accra league.
Accra teams. Akins, the Awako thing. I've heard George Friye say that Awako should be called to the Black Stars. But not for bad reason. He's been quite consistent and one of the driving forces behind this Accra Great Olympics team.
Exactly, and he leads by example. And on that occasion...
we don't see such sweet free kicks very often.
And the fact that he's been in the league before, gone out, come back, and has been consistent till date tells you that he really is a quality player and he's no fluke of a player. So he's been quite impressive. He's been driving the team and they look up to him for inspiration and he provides those moments for them.
I can understand why the Olympics...
he was offered to Kotoko before the season.
Yes.
And they declined.
Yes, they did.
I guess by now, Nanaya and his cohorts will be regretting.
Because he shows with experience. I remember him from back in the day with the Chan team.
Yeah.
But with experience, there's a touch of class about him.
That's it.
You could see that he's a cut above the players he's playing with.
That's true.
And he just has a way of driving the Accra Great Olympics, team.
And he's been brilliant.
Proper number 10.
But I think for the mere fact that Great Olympics have run Hearts of Folk, Kotoko, and the rest of the teams using the Accra Sports Stadium very close, means we should start to question how they find out how they prepare for games. And games of that nature. Yeah. Because the managers will tell you and the experienced ones will tell you that to win a big game, you need to prepare adequately.
From what the coach said, he says, look, they just won this game. Tomorrow they are going back to their training grounds. The first thing he's going to work on are the mistakes. Correct it and then prepare for Faisal. Not as if Faisal is in the bottom 3, but as another team they need to dispatch.
Yep. Yeah.
So it looks like mindset-wise, they've been tuned properly.
Yeah.
Accra Great Olympics, because they go into the games without the timidity we've seen in previous seasons.
Yeah.
Previous season, this time you see Accra Great Olympics in the bottom three.
That's true.
It's different.
That's true. But the problem for them has been how to use these games as launch pads
Yeah.
and gather some momentum and go on some run of a sort.
Well, you see, the other thing is that they may win these games, but they are by no means what you describe as title contenders. I don't even think they have the squad depth to be able to challenge for these things. So perhaps one step at a time. Normally they'll be in the bottom ranks. To
Now
be where they are
yeah.
in itself is credit to them.
It's credit to them and to the management. And one thing that Yao said, which I found profound, was the influence that the backroom staff is doing. Because he said Gladson Awako has been having training sessions with the assistant coach
On free kicks.
and on free kicks.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that really worries me about Ghana football, where we don't utilize set pieces well. And it's all because of
trial and error.
we are lazy. We are lazy. If you put in the work, you get it done. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about Bruno Fernandes and how he stays behind training him and Juan Mata and Rashford to take free kicks. Same thing Preco is talking about Gladson Awako. And I hope a lot of players who are watching this show are or listening to us would see that there's value in practice.
Okay.
Don't just go and stand there.
Let's look at the off-the-field issues. And the most obvious one is the temporary ban on Accra Hearts-of-Oak. Temporary because this is until the DC sits on the matter. Now, subsequent to the FA statement, we've seen the statement from
the NSA.
the National Sports Authority condemning what happened and saying they would not hesitate to prevent fans from going in there. I mean, and it's not just Hearts-of-Oak fans. The only fans we've seen from the JAMA session there that there was no disregard. But this is by no means an isolated incident. We have seen pockets of these incidents since. Yeah, my first question is, who is responsible for keeping the fans physically distanced from each other once they enter the stadium?
It's the home team. I mean, the NSC has its bit by providing the facilities.
Yes.
The home team is the one who prints the ticket.
Who provides the security? Who provides the wardenship and
I think,
the other
you see,
things?
for me, I will not take any, I will always blame the home team. You are supposed, because see, I was watching a game yesterday, the VIP stand had seats marked, do not sit here. And they were socially distant in the VIP. In the main stand, it was just free for all, through to the dots.
There are multiple teams here. If the VIP, and I'm not holding breath for the clubs, but the VIP area had markings. And I've seen this with the stadiums in other countries. Permanently, there are markings on the seat.
Yeah.
Permanently. And so it's one thing seeing somebody sitting in an area that is marked as do not sit. But the other areas in the Accra
They
Sports
don't.
and so this could have happened to any of the teams playing at
Because
the
you
Accra
see,
Sports Stadium.
another thing we also have to realize is that this particular match was well hyped.
Yes.
You understand me? So clearly, Hearts-of-Oak knew that a lot more attention will come. They will make more money from the gate process. So you can't sit down and say, I didn't expect many people.
Yeah.
So you have to make provisions. What provisions do you have to make? Make sure there's police or whoever in the stands, making sure people sit, or you get your staff to be in the stands to control people. You need to do it because these are not normal times.
Okay. Eddie, do you agree? Because my position still is that there's a facilities manager who is ultimately responsible for preventing this thing from happening with any of the clubs. They are the enforcers. Because I've seen in the statement the NSA say that they want to they want to reassure people of their commitment to upholding
But you know,
the protocols.
before this thing, if you read the FA statement, they indicated that there was a security meeting that happened before the match. I'm sure these things would have been reiterated.
So assuming this run away from the clubs, who enforces the protocols at the stadium? And this is no ordinary stadium. This is the National Stadium.
Yeah, so obviously, I'm sure after the president's directive, there were guidelines set down by the FA. So what guidelines did Hearts agree to regarding the protocols? Was it down to the home team to enforce it in any shape or form? Or it was down to the FA or the NSA to do that? If it was down to the home team, then they are obviously in violation. And mind you, I think the FA is using this to make a statement because Hearts-of-Oak arguably is one of the biggest clubs
Yep.
with one of the largest fan bases. Okay, and
it's not Kotoko Hearts.
definitely.
So you can just imagine what will happen if it
Definitely.
was.
And for that mere fact, they owe the league a duty
Yeah.
to make sure that anyone who comes to that stadium really complies with the protocol.
Yeah.
So I think the FA is using this to make a statement to the rest of the teams that if we're doing this to Accra Hearts of Oak, then look, you dare not provoke us.
Guys, should we just scrap
You
the
know,
whole
you know.
25%?
Man, I really
just
wish,
scrap the
I
whole
really wish
25%?
the president today would have said no fans
No
in the
fans.
stadium.
Yeah.
No, seriously,
Should
because
we-
I do not
yeah,
trust the fans.
because-
and if we are in these times, and you think that going to the stadium and sitting by your brother, who you don't know his status, and hugging him,
You know, it doesn't stop there because clearly from the Jama,
Look
we've
at
seen,
the Jama they
once
were
they
doing.
came out, you know, there were clusters of people
So
together.
clearly, that's why I would say shame on everybody who went to the stadium and did that. Because you see, the education is there. Today, president has restricted funerals. We are joking.
Charlie, the party
We
people
are
didn't get
joking.
sanctioned.
No, seriously. Look, we deserve everything that's coming to us.
Yeah,
And
Charlie,
you see, the
numbers.
start things that people don't realize the cost involved in treating people with COVID. I mean, I've seen figures 20,000 to 30,000. I don't know how
fact that
many
people are
people who
dying.
can afford that.
Yeah.
And people are dying.
And there are no beds.
Yeah.
There are
And
no
you
beds.
could be asymptomatic, you could be walking around,
Super
but what
spreader.
about your poor mother at home?
Yeah.
What about your father at home?
Charlie.
I think we need to be wise. No, I mean,
So
I think I side with him. Maybe
we should just scrap the 25%.
yes, the whole
Do
thing
behind
because
closed doors.
because look, we have a culture or a subculture. We cannot control our people. We don't have the personnel to control our people. Our people are emotional. They are passionate. Okay, some get above themselves in situations. You cannot control it.
Yeah.
And this is Hearts of Oak, one of the biggest clubs.
Yeah.
What about the other clubs who really don't have the resources?
Yeah.
How would they control this?
And I'm wondering, does this come up because we saw it on the screen? How about the matches that were, were not live
Yeah.
or don't have images coming of
Yeah.
people sitting together and all that? How are we treating those? So bottom line is we need to review. I think there's an opportunity to sit down and review the arrangements around the protocols. I don't think it's enough to, Hearts of Oak obviously have to be blamed because they are the home team, but I don't think Hearts alone should be blamed. And with all due respect to the NSA, I think they should take a huge chunk of the responsibility. They are the facility managers. There are 4 clubs playing at Accra Sports Stadium. They have an essential duty. We can't just leave it to the club, especially because of the potential effect on there. If it means now that we need to deploy extra people, security wardens, to enforce this in every match that is played, as long as we are going to keep this 25%, the president said this evening that the 25% attendance is going to be maintained. If it's going to be maintained, we need to make it safe.
yeah.
For me, that's my position. Okay, let's run through the other things that happened. And the most exciting match of the weekend was King Faisal coming from 3 goals down.
Wow. Amazing.
To win by 4 goals to 3, only their
It's-
second victory. Unbelievable.
When I saw I was just following online and I saw 3-1, 3-2,
Against Waco
3-3,
Chelsea.
and 4-3. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That was really amazing. That was good for King Faisal.
So the Nottingham boys are off the bottom, but they are still in the bottom 3.
Yeah.
Liberty is struggling.
Extremely.
Nothing epitomizes it more than this 5-0 thumping by Wafa.
That's because Wafa themselves have not really found their mojo
Yeah.
this season. But to hit 5 past Liberty is some
Yeah, I
story.
said last week. that
Last week,
Liberty
I
are-
won
he said
Liberty.
Liberty are in trouble.
I want them.
They lost last week too.
Yes.
Yeah, 3.
By 3 or 4
Yeah,
goals.
3 to
Dreams.
To Dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're really in trouble, and they are up against it. I think if there's any time for them to, do some introspection and try to bounce back, it's now because the league is starting to take shape.
Legon Cities.
Matthew
They're out of the relegation.
Cujo scores.
There was a lot of
in the
hype
12
around his
minute,
transfer.
and they seem to have picked some good from Bashir Hayford is doing some
Yeah.
wonders there.
Yeah.
And if they continue on this path, you could find them even in mid-table. I mean,
Yeah. They've turned it around.
They've turned
finally.
it around, but it's they need to sustain it because you know, with these things, you put in a run. If you don't sustain it, then you get drawn back to the bottom. But
Kerala
they're
are
doing
still
well.
top. They won the so-called Enzima Derby by 2-0.
Yeah.
They stay top
Yeah,
of
we
the
see
table,
Taylor, my
reaching
boy.
second on 19 points. But certainly the anti-climax of the weekend was with Kotsko versus Ashfield. No goals.
Yeah, no goals. I really expected it. I think those two clubs cancel each other out. Going into this game, both of them had 2 wins in 5. So they sort of, were on an even scale. And it really didn't surprise me that it was a draw. I think both of them, really.
So that's it for the Ghana Premier League. Let's quickly go to Europe. And we'll start with the English Premier League, which a lot of people in Ghana follow. The big news is that Liverpool are in third. And, it can show you just how fickle people are with their predictions. Because just a week ago, the declaration was that Liverpool were in crisis. Crisis? What crisis? 3-1.
Yeah, and
Have they turned it around?
They've turned it around, and it's amazing because you see the kind of defense they are playing with, and for them to be able to win games. I mean, it shows Klopp is a magician.
So we said the front three are not scoring. They are scoring.
Mane starts scoring, Salah starts scoring, and everything goes on. And they are not conceding. And because when I look at the defense of Henderson and the young chap, the Phillips guy, I'm like, there's no defense. But they are able to keep the ball, keep possession, and still win games, especially against Spurs.
Yeah.
So,
they are third behind Manchester United. Man City are first. Table could have been slightly different if Manchester United, and Manchester United, they needed to respond because they had lost a match they didn't expect to lose against Sheffield United. It was an all-action game, but still a goalless drawn game against Arsenal.
Yeah, but I wasn't surprised. United have not exploded in the big games this season. They've always gone in there, fancied their chances in the opening exchanges, and then really called back and played out for a draw. And that's what happened during the Arsenal game. I think they went in there knowing it was an away game to try and play out and get a point, and that's what they did.
Well, they had lost this corresponding fixture by a 0-0 against.
The penalty by Aubameyang.
And both teams really had chances to have won this game.
Yeah, I think, Cavani went back to his wasteful self. Before Cavani came to Manchester United, my greatest criticism of Cavani was that he needed about 5 chances to score a goal.
In his defense, people say it's because he creates so many chances. He puts himself in a position to have so many.
In certain games where there are tight lines, you don't, see the setter. In front of the goal, you don't miss these chances. For a player of Cavani's stature, it's unpardonable.
Complete miscue.
Yeah.
And then he had that other chance between him and Martial.
Yeah. But Man United, I think that Solskjaer has a problem where he's trying to fit Paul Pogba in, but he's ending up limiting him because now he has to put Paul Pogba on the right wing, Paul Pogba on the left wing.
He started on the left, and then there was the forced substitution of Scott McTominay.
Yes, before Martial came in. And especially his front line, Martial is not playing well, Rashford is not playing well. And that's the reason why they are not scoring goals. Because if Bruno Fernandes does not come out with the magic, it means they are struggling.
So that's where the problem lies for United. I think there's that growing over-reliance on Bruno Fernandes. And so far, he's not turned up in the big games.
It's about time they gave Van der Beek a run out.
They need to. Because look, we all saw Bruno Fernandes towards the back end of last season fade away.
The guy's a bowling bay. He wants to play
every match. But he does not influence the big games for United. And that's their problem.
But for Arsenal, they still haven't lost. They are in a good position. If they had won this game, they would have been 4 points behind Liverpool coming into Liverpool's game today. So essentially, they are still not out of touch with the top teams.
I think, that's why sometimes we talk about patience. And last week, before Lampard got sacked, I was here talking about patience. Because a few weeks back, Arteta was being hounded. Yeah. But sometimes in football, Solskjaer said something. He said he's had about 3 or 4 bad spells in his 2 years at United. Lampard goes through 1 bad spell and he's out of the door. Yeah. You need some patience with your coaches.
Well, Lampard didn't get patience. On Sunday, I was advocating patience. I said, look, this guy has been given a long rope to hang himself. And the very next day, our tweet says it's going to happen. I said, the man has changed his mind. So he gets sacked Monday, and TT comes in.
Yeah.
Thomas Tuchel.
Roman doesn't joke.
Nah, Tuchel comes in, and already, there's so much football. He's played 2 matches.
Yeah. 2 matches, yeah.
Drew the first one. He's just won the second one 2-0, and he hasn't conceded.
Hey,
What's your evaluation of the TT spell
I think
so
it's
far?
too early, but you can see a certain
He's
philosophy.
thrown in players who were exiled from the team.
Because he's now playing 3 back. And the best, when you're playing a wing back system, the best left wing back system you can, left wing back, is Alonso.
Alonso Marcos.
And Alonso comes in today and he scores. Because he can't defend. He
who's
can't
not been
defend for
started.
his life. Yes.
And he scores.
It's playing well. And, he's trying stuff. I mean, Hudson-Odoi is getting more games now. And he looks like he wants to play a 3-back system.
Yeah.
So things are changing. But what they do so beautifully well is that they win the ball back quickly when they lose it. It wasn't happening against Lampard.
Eddie, is this the usual new managers bounce, or Chelsea have found a new spring to their step?
It's too early to say that. I think part of it would be that there's a new manager in town, and it feels like an auditioning for some of the players. Yeah. So you're going to get certain levels of energy that hitherto were not there. But I also think that Tuchel has been following this Chelsea team for some time and had an idea what he wanted to do with the team, and that's why he's come in and brought back someone like Marcos Alonso, who was really consigned. Yeah. It tells you that he has a plan for the team, and he had certain players in his mind to execute.
The bad news is that Werner is still not scoring.
He's lost confidence. He looks short. I mean, I don't know what. I think, when player is going through these bad parts, you have to just bench him. Because he's trying too hard. And now every pass that he's going to pass, every shot, he's going to think about it 2-3 times. Previously, it would have been instinctive. Now he's thinking too much and it's worrying him. He looks lost.
So that's Chelsea. We'll have an eye on this Chelsea team to see what happens. Now, looking at the teams in there, Tottenham Hotspur playing against Brighton Hove Albion. They came into this weekend having lost against Liverpool. They'll be looking to bounce back, but they are losing against Brighton.
They're losing one, and
then they'll go up. They have another tough match coming.
For Tottenham and Jose Mourinho, that's the criticism with him.
And then they don't have Kane.
It's like he starts well, and all of a sudden everything is gone by, and then very soon you see him hanging players out to dry. I mean, this is Tottenham. Look at the talent he has. You don't need Kane to win matches against Brighton. You have Carlos, Vinicius, you have Son, you have Bergwijn. He should be winning these games. I don't know what is wrong with Jose Mourinho.
Is there anything wrong with Jose Mourinho? This is typical Mourinho. It takes you to the heights. It takes you and drops you down to the depths.
I think this Tottenham team is still some work in progress. Yeah. If you ask me, I don't think they are there yet. I think Mourinho has made some strides and some progress with them, but they are not yet the typical Mourinho outfit. They've played some wonderful games, but then again, these are the games you have to be winning if you really want to stay in touch with the top 6.
But we'll see how it goes. Leicester lost against Leeds United. It was a very entertaining game. Every game involving Leeds United is an entertaining game. They eventually won by 3 goals to 1. Quite comprehensive. And a bit like Tottenham without Kane, people are beginning to raise issues that Leicester is not the same without Vardy.
Yes, they are, but they've got some exciting talent. Harvey Barnes is playing well. Yeah. Maddison is playing well. But
the team is set up to play for Vardy.
Yeah, the team is.
And the goals he brings in, you can bring in. Ayose has come to play the false 9. I mean, Barnes comes in there. We've seen Maddison score a couple of goals, but it's not the same, is it?
It's not the same. But this game, they lost it because defensively they were not good enough. So it wasn't really a matter of them not scoring because they were the ones who scored first. But defensively, I mean, Ndidi being out of their team worries them. But they were overwhelmed. Mendy came in and
because Leeds just kept coming and coming.
And we all know how Leeds play. Yeah. And even Leeds is set up for a Leicester team who love playing on the counter.
And that's why they won the corresponding fixture.
Yeah, so because they'll come forward and you hit to the back. So today they were in defensively, they were in sound.
Right. So that's it for the Premier League. Let's go first to Italy. Italy is becoming my next favorite league.
I think so.
For the obvious reason that we have a very open competition. Yeah. Milan are back to winning ways. Juventus are keeping up the pressure. For me, the best match of the weekend was Lazio against Atalanta. Again, Atalanta, inconsistent.
I always thought, maybe because I have some friends who bet that when you are going for an Atlanta game, the best bet is to go for goals because you don't know which Atlanta team will come.
Did you see them losing 3-1 to Lazio?
I didn't, but anytime I see Atlanta, I'm always wary of them. They could either be very good or very bad. So this is the bad Atlanta, a team that goes to AC Milan, blitz them, scores them 3, and then comes and sits at home, and then you get. It's Jekyll and Hyde performances from Atlanta.
Juventus went to Sampdoria and they won 2-0. They have a game in hand. 7 points behind. If they win that, it's 4 points. Do you expect Milan, Inter? Do you expect these teams to panic and probably start dropping points? That's been the story of the last 9 years.
No, I think Milan, AC Milan and Inter Milan should be stable. They should focus on what's in front of them. Juventus really know they've lost some ground and are beginning to build some momentum. But for Milan, AC Milan, winning away at Bologna was a very big result for them. And for Conte and his charges, seeing Milan win and keeping up the pace.
But doesn't trust Conte.
Oh no, actually, Farouk who doesn't trust Conte. But I think that Inter, for what is worth, what they did last season, I expect them to challenge.
This title is there for them to win.
It is there for them.
It's just 2 points.
They have a better squad than Milan.
Yes.
They have more depth in the squad than Milan. Okay, let's go to Spain now. Atletico Madrid are 10 points clear.
Oh, I mean, they won the league.
Real Madrid stumbled over the weekend, and they still have matches in hand there.
No, but Atletico has won the league. I mean, it's dead.
Suarez is scoring 14th and 15 goals that Barcelona could have done with.
I mean, we said it before that when Suarez goes to Atletico, it's going to be, and he's gelling with João Felix, and Atletico already have a good base, as in terms of their defense. So when they get a good goal scorer, that's why they can start Costa. They would be better.
Look, I won't waste my breath talking about Germany. Bayern are in charge. They are looking at winning their 9th title in a row. The big story from France is that PSG lost against Lorient. Lorient scored very late in that game to win it by 3-2. It means PSG drop, behind Lille, who are leading by a point. But then they are always in the mix. It's Pochettino's first loss. And just one other score to tell you about, in the Copa Libertadores final, which is like the South American Champions League. It was between two Brazilian clubs, Palmeiras and then Santos. Both of them, or the two teams, had beaten Argentine opponents, Boca and River Plate. In the 9th minute of time added on, Palmeiras scored, and they won the Copa Libertadores. It means they picked the South American tickets to go to the World Clubs Championship. We have 3 minutes to end the show, and I'd like to touch on something. Tomorrow is the 1st of February, as the last day of the January transfer window. Guys, in 3 minutes, let's break this down. This has been unusual, probably because of the COVID-19. Now, just to put it in perspective, last year in January, in 2020, in all the leagues, they spent 3-figure sums, so in the hundreds of millions. In this particular period, it's been 2-figure sums, and most of it has been free transfers, loans, and swap deals. And already Real Madrid and Barca have declared that they don't have money to buy any players. But between now and tomorrow, we know that notwithstanding, clubs have needs.
Yeah.
What do you expect to happen? Liverpool, for instance, maybe in the market for a centre back. We've already seen Lingard go to West Ham. There's been a long-running thing about whether or not Dele Alli will go. Perhaps Spurs will make a last-minute move for a striker now that Kane is out for a certain period of time. What's going to happen between now and tomorrow?
Well, I think for the teams that are in relegation trouble, you see a lot more activity from them. So the likes of West Brom, the likes of Sheffield United, the likes of Fulham are going to be looking to bring players in. I mean, West Brom already has brought one player. He's looking to bring another player. Yes, and Samalala said he was promised 3 strikers, so he wants to get 3 strikers because he doesn't have a striker. 3 strikers in this stuff. The unusual transfer news ahead was Burnley were trying to sign Jonjo Shelvey from Newcastle. And I was like, really? Because Burnley they signed only 1 player in the summer, and they're also in relegation trouble. Even though they won a few games on them, they lost today. But if they don't take it, they will get sacked in. So the teams in relegation zone.
That's where you expect to see a lot of activity.
That's where I see
a lot of loan moves primarily.
Yes,
but you see, there's the issue of you can only do 2 loan moves, especially between Premier League teams. Yeah. Somebody has to go. So West Ham,
opposite
for instance,
direction.
Had to sign Said Benrahma to allow Lingard to come
There
in.
was a lot of talk about Dayot Upamecano. I'm not sure he's moving in January.
No, Bayern actually said they met his agent yesterday.
And possibly
And they want to sign him. Bayern
before the transfer
So
window
no, not this summer, because you know he has a release clause in the summer.
Yeah.
And Bayern seem to have gone ahead of the pack,
Yeah.
because a lot of teams have been looking at him: Liverpool, Manchester United, the Man City, the Real Madrid, and the But it looks like Bayern want to keep him in Germany.
So
For Dayot, I think if Bayern want to have him, it should be now. Because Bayern are one of those clubs who don't really want to go into bidding wars
yeah, but the thing
with other
is,
clubs. Now, if they wait till summer, there's going to be a bidding war.
technically,
There's a release clause, so it's
so Alaba doesn't leave till the summer.
yes.
He's going to work in the summer. He's not going now. Because they're also business savvy. And although they spend, they like to manage costs,
Yeah.
and which might be one of the challenges to bring him in at the moment. Look, there are a couple of other players that there's been speculation about. Christian Eriksen, but after he scored that free kick,
He seems to have bought
he seems to have
himself.
bought himself some time.
Yeah.
There's been talk about Wijnaldum, who's not signing a new contract. Liverpool risk having him go for free.
I think he will leave on the free because there's talk of him going to Barcelona at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I think so too, considering the fact that that squad is threadbare now.
And because of the
really,
gap he's leaving, there's
he's
talk
leaving,
about
yeah.
Yves Bissouma
Yeah, and
leaving Brighton.
Thiago Alcantara really has not,
Well, he's distributing and he has
but
he has
we are not
he's, not,
seeing anything.
he's not impacting.
yeah.
You know
Thiago-
that the influence we thought he would bring, he's
And
not.
the free agents, that's Diego Costa.
Costa.
Diego Costa.
I mean,
Diego Costa,
Sam,
let's talk about him
Big
coming
Sam
to
should be
Wolves.
able to call Costa and say, "Hey, my friend, come, let's do some business."
There was talk about him going to Wolves.
He's a package, and that's what the whole
nobody's
team-
saying
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
No, but I think
Something
with
will happen by tomorrow.
Costa, his salary bracket is also high. Not a lot of teams can afford it.
Yeah.
That's the truth. I mean, so he'll come in and he'll take a minimum of 150k.
Eric Garcia from City. There was talk about him going to Barcelona.
I
That's
think it
happening.
will happen in the
think it
summer
can happen.
because Barca don't have any money.
Okay.
They are broke.
Let me just tell you, this is how it looks like. Tomorrow is the 1st of February. The transfer window will close. In England, it's going to close at 11 p.m. In Italy, it will be 7 p.m. In Germany, it will be 5 p.m. In La Liga, it will be 11 p.m. In France, it will be 11 p.m. as well. So we'll keep across all the big deals. Just to give you the stark reality, in 2020, there was 242 million euro worth of activity in the Premier League. This year has just been 71 million euros. It tells you that COVID has affected everything, including how people spend money, because the clubs just don't have the money.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't.
Guys,
Especially with the
it's been
fans
fun.
not
Thank
being-
you very much for joining
It's
us.
been
Always a
brilliant.
pleasure.
Well, I know you can't wait for us to come back, so we'll see you next week. Please stay safe, observe all the necessary precautions and the protocols, and don't be a victim of COVID-19. Have a pleasant week.